100% Dollar Tree seed starting. Let's go. Hey guys, I hope your winter is going well. We will be approaching spring very, very soon, and it's time to start gardening. It's time to get those seeds started and to get them germinated. So I am going to do a 100% Dollar Tree germination process. I'm going to show you guys the seed starting mix that I have, and I'm going to be using all Dollar Tree seeds. And here are my seeds. I love to be organized. You can see I have all of my seeds here ready to go. Every single seed packet is from Dollar Tree. I even have some of their microgreens that they had. I'm gonna be doing those as well. Super excited about that. I'm gonna walk you guys through my 100% Dollar Tree seed starting process. So I want to give you guys a real good look at this Dollar Tree soil. It is the seed starting potting mix. They also have just a potting mix, but this is the one for seed starting. I wanted to give you guys a good look at it. If you're curious and you're interested in buying it, it's really fluffy, really light. It looks like it has some perlite in it. Maybe vermiculite, not sure, but definitely some perlite. And it does have like little like worm castings or whatever in it. I did see those. So for $1, if you're starting a small garden or you're just doing your seeds or starting in the house, I think this is a really good option if you're on a budget, or if you're just doing a small garden and you don't want a bunch of those big bags around your house. I think this is a really good option. So yeah, I just wanted to show that to you guys. The first bag that I opened, it was broken down a little bit more. It was a lot more powdery. This one has a few more like chips, wood chips and kind of clumps in it, but it's still really light. It's still really fluffy, considering the source. So if you're interested, I do recommend the seed starting mix from Dollar Tree. So here are the little pots that I picked up from Dollar Tree. These are seed starter pots, and you can put these right in the ground. So once here, I'll go ahead and open it up for you guys. Let's see. There's no way that I can open it up neatly, so I'm just gonna have to go for it. Once you put your dirt in and then add your seeds, and you get a seedling, it starts to germinate, and then you get a seedling. They're a little stuck together. It's okay, we'll just be gentle and work them out. They are $1. Once you fill it up with dirt, add your seed, and it sprouts and it germinates, and it then becomes a seedling. You can put this cup directly into the ground. It is biodegradable, so you don't have to take it out of here. These are not reusable, just FYI. And then I also have these egg crates that I've had for several years that I don't use anymore. I store my eggs in something different now, but I thought these would be great for seed starting. It's just, perfect, right? Little cup situation. I can start 12, and I have 2 of them. So I can start 24 seedlings in here. And I thought that would come in very, very useful. Instead of, throwing them away, I try my best to use things that are reusable. I try, to be kinder to the environment. I know this is plastic, but I try to do my part where I can. And it also comes with this lid, and you can find these at any Dollar Tree. They sell them at every single Dollar Tree I've ever been to. So if you don't have a greenhouse, this is a great way to have a greenhouse effect. And you can just maybe put a piece of tape over this or something to close that off. But that'll save you money from buying a greenhouse. You can just use this little egg cart and its lid, and there you have it. So I wanted to display to you guys all of the seeds that I'm going to be using. Again, every single seed packet came from Dollar Tree. They sell them 4 for $1. I think it's a deal that you absolutely cannot beat. So I just wanted to show you the packet so you can rest assured that I didn't do any trickery, that I'm actually using Dollar Tree seeds. So I'm just going to start here by filling up my egg crates. You can use 1 bag of seed starting mix for 2 egg crates. You'll see that I opened another bag, but that's because I was already using a half a bag. You only need 1 bag if you're going to do 2 egg crates. The cells that you see to the left, those black squares, those are called cells, and I picked those up from a store called Daiso. Daiso, Daiso Japan, and they have a couple of them in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I do know that they are a national chain. So if you want the cells, they come 3 in a pack for $1.50. I think it is either 9 or 12 cells per tray, and it's 3 of those in 1 pack for $1.50, and they do have a hole in the bottom. I did have to dump this dirt out of the egg cartons because I forgot to drill holes in the bottom. So pro tip, don't forget to drill a hole, just tiny hole in the bottom of each of the little egg cradles before you fill it with dirt, because you are going to need that for, so it can pull water up from the tray. So I'm sure you noticed that I used a spray bottle with water in it to dampen each little egg cradle. And I wanted to do that so that I can moisten the dirt. It is recommended that the dirt is moist before you place your seed in it. It doesn't have to be soaked, but it does need to be wet to a certain extent. So I use that little spray bottle, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my seeds in. I do have some other options later for you in the video as well. I have an ice tray, some cups, and all kinds of options for you to use if you cannot find these egg cradles in the store. I always place 2 seeds per cell or per cradle when I'm planting. Even if I'm planting directly out in the garden, like straight into the dirt, I always do 2 seeds per area, because you never know which seeds are going to germinate. And if both germinate, then you could just separate them, right, and replant them and make them transplants. But I take that back, unless it's a bean or like Swiss chard, where that 1 seed gives you multiple plants, then I only plant 1 per space. Other than that, I always do 2 seeds per cell or per area, just in case one doesn't germinate. Feel free to go ahead and mark each area that you put a seed in as you go. I lay the seed packet next to the area where I put the seed in, but if you're forgetful, which I actually am, I'm surprised I remembered or even did this. If you're forgetful like me, you might want to go ahead and label your little sticks now, as you plant each seed before you move on to the next vegetable. And if you cannot find these tags in the Dollar Tree, you can also use popsicle sticks or tongue depressors. You might need to look in like the first aid section, or I think she said that they were in like the paper section when I was talking to the associate at Dollar Tree. So don't feel bad if you cannot find these labels. You can also use tongue depressors, and they work perfect. And that's actually what most gardeners use anyway. After you've put your seed into your soil, you can do a couple of things. You can sprinkle dirt on top, I would say no more than 1/4 of an inch. Some would say 1/2 an inch, extra on top of the seed. You can sprinkle it on top, or you can just push the seed down far enough and then move the dirt that's already there over top of it to cover the seed. But the goal is to get the seed covered, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch worth of dirt on top of the seed so that it has enough darkness to germinate. Seeds need darkness, moisture, and warmth to germinate. The light comes when they turn into seedlings, and we want them to turn into, to start growing into a nice big strong plant. But in order to germinate, it needs to be covered in dirt, but not too deep. I wanted to take you guys to Dollar Tree with me to show you the seed starting mix that I found, as well as the seed starting pots. They have these orange pots that are next to it. I want to say that's about 15 to 20 pots in the small version. And then they have like a medium version that has a little less, maybe 10 to 12 pots. And so depending on what you're trying to do, some people want to grow full on transplants and not just seedlings. If you want to grow full on transplants, you might want to get that bigger, those orange pots, the bigger pots. That might be a better option for you. They also had a ton of garden accessories, wind chimes. I have these little wind twister things in my garden, and that scares away rodents because they think that something else is in the garden moving. Here you'll see those ice trays that I was telling you about. If you cannot find the egg cartons, which are $1 a piece, you can get ice trays for 2 for $1, and it gives you the exact same effect and the exact same amount of cells in seedling spaces. And if you can't find the ice trays, then hey, styrofoam cups work. Even your most seasoned professional gardeners still use cups. They have the styrofoam cups, and you can cut them down to size, just, trim off some of the top of it. And then they had these little like Dixie style paper cups. And of course, the miniature red cups. All of these are wonderful options if you're looking to start your seedlings indoors. So let's talk drip trays. These baking pans are perfect. I typically only pick these up around Thanksgiving, to be quite honest. But now that I'm gardening and starting seeds indoors, it dawned on me, I'm like, I can use those. You can also use the reusable kind, like down here, the cookie sheets and the baking pans. It has enough of a lip on it to hold water. You can absolutely sit your cups or cell trays on that and put a little bit of water in the bottom. That way you always have a water reservoir. If you don't have a full greenhouse, if you don't want to invest in one, you can get this baking tray here, and it comes with a clear lid. All you do is put your water in the bottom, put your cells or cups in there, and put this clear lid on top, and boom, you have a greenhouse, honey. Now, you guys saw me earlier with my fancy schmancy seed holder. If you don't want to make that kind of investment, you can pick these mask holders up from Dollar Tree. It's literally the exact same thing, just a slimmer version. Get a bunch of those and stick them in a plastic tote, and there you go. So I was headed towards the checkout, and then a light bulb went off in my head. I said, wait a minute. Is there a way that I can make a self-wicking system? If it's your first time here on my channel, welcome. My husband and I are both flight attendants, so we travel for a living. So what happens if we get stuck out on a trip and we can't make it home, or we forget to water? I need this thing to have water. So why not put water in the bottom of whatever pan I'm going to use, and then put a sponge, and that way the cells or the cups can sit on top of the sponge and absorb whatever water it needs. And there you have it, a self-wicking system from the Dollar Tree. And whatever sponges you find, you can use, cut them in half, thin them out, or double them up, whatever you need to do depending on the depth of the pan that you have. If you're interested in these grow lights, I'll have them linked in the description box below. I picked them up from Amazon. So just as an FYI, I picked up this shelving unit from IKEA and it has vent flaps on both sides. The shelving unit itself, I believe, was $14.99, and then the cover on top, I believe, was $5. And I picked that up maybe last fall, and I knew that I would use it as a greenhouse, and I haven't put it together until now. So if you're interested, that came from IKEA. Again, the black cells came from Daiso. The baking pans, the metal baking pans I already had, but of course, you know that I went to Dollar Tree and I picked up the disposable baking pans that I won't be disposing of. I am going to reuse those, and I think they'll be a great option for someone who is on a budget, such as myself. Another tip when you're labeling your seeds, go ahead and put the date that you planted the seed as well as the days it takes to germinate on your label. That way you won't drive yourself crazy. So I put the name of the seed in permanent marker because I will be reusing these labels, but I put the date that I planted them and the days that it takes to germinate in erasable marker, you know, that you use for like your erasable calendar. So here I'm just going to begin the process of putting the seed starting pots and the cells in these disposable pans. Again, I will not be disposing of these. I will reuse these all season as long as they hold up, and I'm pretty gentle, so I don't see why they wouldn't hold up. And I'm going to go ahead and open my sponges. It took 6 of these sponges per like 9x12 baking pan to create the self-wicking system. I only needed 2 or maybe 2.5 sponges for the smaller pans that you'll see in just a moment. But depending on the size that you get, go ahead and throw the sponges in the pan while you're at Dollar Tree so you can figure out how many sponges you need if you want to go with this self-wicking system. So when adding the water, I only added the water to the halfway mark of the height of the sponge. So whatever sponge you use, let's say you're using a really deep pan. If you're using a deep pan and you have a really thick sponge in there, only fill the pan up to the halfway mark of the sponge with water. So since these pans aren't super deep and this sponge isn't super thick, I just put just enough water. I think it took about 1 cup of water per 9x12 pan to get it to the halfway mark of the sponge, and it was absolutely perfect. You can actually see the sponge absorbing the water, and I knew that as when the soil touches the sponge, it would be just enough water and it can take whatever it needs, as opposed to it just sitting and being submerged in water and being saturated, and then the soil and the seed drowning in the water. So this self-wicking system is going to come in really handy for people who are on the go or who travel a lot or who just want a no fuss germination process. I just wanted to show you there that the water was beginning to absorb in the seed starter pots, and that's exactly what you want. I just wanted you to see it before I added dirt in there, that just by sitting the cup on top of that wet sponge, it will pull up the water it needs, and you don't have to worry about the seed and the dirt being drenched in water and ruining the germination process. I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. Check back in with me in a few weeks when I post a video and we'll see what germinated and what didn't. Hopefully everything did, and I'm wishing you the best. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and if it's your first time here, thank you so incredibly much for being here and spending time with me. And if you are coming back, welcome back. You guys know I love you so much and appreciate every single comment and every single view. Thank you so much. Happy gardening.